Come on, play it for me. There's not much a poor family like yours can play anyway. My mother-in-law's birthday party. All of my mother-in-law's friends, her daughter's friends, and relatives at the party looked at me at once. My mother-in-law, eager to humiliate me, grinned and looked at me. I slowly placed my fingertips on the keyboard. My name is Noriko, a 36-year-old housewife. I live with my husband Tom and our daughter Hannah, who is in the 5th grade of elementary school. Surrounded by a kind husband and a lovely daughter, my life was happiness. But there is one thing. I have a problem. Hannah, I came to visit you. As soon as my mother-in-law saw my daughter Hannah, she approached her and hugged her tightly. Grandma, it's been a long time. Hannah, you've grown up and you've become pretty again, haven't you? Really? Really, Grandma? My mother-in-law was happily talking with my daughter, but as soon as she noticed that I was with them, she turned to me and glared at me sharply. What are you doing? Isn't it common courtesy to offer at least a cup of tea at a time like this? Or what? Are you trying to tell me that you can't even serve tea to your mother-in-law? Grandma? Oh, what is it, Hannah? Oh, yes. Why don't you go to the shopping mall with me, Hannah? You can have a big buffet. What? I want to go, but... My daughter glances at me. She seems to be concerned about the conversation between my mother-in-law and me, and her eyes are shifty, wondering what she should do. Go with your grandmother, Hannah. Are you sure? Yeah, you go have fun. I smiled reassuringly at her, and she smiled as if she relieved. Let's go, Grandma. She cheerfully pulled her grandma's hand. I'll take good care of Hannah. With a sarcastic tone and a victorious face, my mother-in-law left with Hannah for the shopping mall. The problem I have is that I don't get along well with my mother-in-law. The way I went to the wedding greeting. When I was with my husband, my mother-in-law smiled at me kindly, and I was relieved to see that she was kind. As soon as I was left alone with my mother-in-law, she started to verbally abuse me. My son told me that you're a poor who graduated from a junior college, right? What? Yes, I have a junior college degree. You were slow to reply, and I wonder why Tom picked you. What do you mean by that? What? Do you have something to complain about? Tom is an elite who graduated from one of the best private universities, but he fell in love with you, who is poor and only have a junior college degree. I forgive you because you're Tom's wife, but to be honest, I wouldn't even want to breathe the same air with a poor person like you. What's wrong with a junior college graduate? You don't have a degree. You have no money. You're uneducated. You don't understand unless you're told, and this is why I hate junior college graduates. Stunned by this absurd argument, she said, I'll try to be friendly with you in front of everyone, but please stay away from me as much as possible. Since then, when no one is watching, she has been harsh with me. I have not been bothered much by her outbursts against me. As my mother-in-law said, all I have to do is minimize my relationship with her. The problem is with my daughter Hannah. Her grandchildren are adorable for her, and she comes to visit us once every 3 days on most days. She also takes my daughter away from me and takes her with her, just like she is doing now. Mother-in-law is a good grandmother to her, so I can't say anything strong to her. Don't you get along with grandmother? My heart ached as I watched my daughter anxiously ask me. No, we don't. We are good. But Grandma says that you mistreat Grandma. I'm the one being mistreated. I tried not to say words that I wanted to say, and I just said, maybe it's because I had a fight with your grandma the other day. I desperately tried to lie. No, Mom, you can't. You have to make up with Grandma. Yes, you're right. Yes, we have to make up. I forced myself to smile at her straightforward words as I felt pain. One day, my mother-in-law came into our house as usual and said, I heard from Hannah-chan that you teach piano, she said. Piano? Yes, I'm teaching Hannah. I am now teaching piano to my daughter. It is a grand piano that I inherited from my father. Even though it is old, it is my treasure that I can still play after using careful and repair. I used to play my favorite music on my father's piano, and my daughter used to listen to it, and she listened to me, she said. Mom, I want to play the piano too, and she started to learn the piano from me. I am not a very good teacher. However, I was moved by her enthusiasm, and the days I spend playing the piano with my daughter while learning how to teach are a precious and fulfilling timing for me as well. As I was thinking of this, my mother-in-law looked down at me, not amused, and said, "Take my place." She growled in a low voice. "What?" "Take my place. From now on, I will teach Hannah the piano, not you. I don't want a poor person like you to teach her piano. Don't you feel sorry for Hannah?" When I was shocked at the outrageous tone of her words, my mother-in-law became even more angry and continued, "What is it? Do you want to complain?" No, it's nothing. I'll say it in a way that even you, who don't understand well, can understand. I'm trying to tell you that I'm a better teacher than you." "Why do you think so?" "I'm not sure why you think so. That's why you're not very perceptive or smart. I'm sorry, but I'm asking you because I don't understand. Why do you think you're more qualified than me to teach Hannah the piano?" "Because I graduated from an elite music school, unlike you who graduated from a poor junior college." "What?" "I'm sure even you've heard of TG University." I gulped at my mother-in-law's words. My mother-in-law often boasted about her educational background. "Unlike you, I graduated from a 4-year university and an elite one." My mother-in-law was bragging. "I see. But I had no idea that it was TG University." TG University is one of the best universities that music students would choose to go. The level of stringed instruments and piano is especially high. If my mother-in-law graduated from the piano department of that university, she must have mastered considerable piano skills. Right? Even you, who are not smart, can understand that, can't you? You and I are not on the same level. My throat involuntarily tightens. TG University is indeed, as my mother-in-law said, an elite university of music. It was obvious that it would be more stimulating for my daughter to learn from my mother-in-law, who had graduated from such a university. But that would mean that more and more of my precious time with my daughter would be taken up by my mother-in-law. Even though she is already taking up my precious time with my daughter, she wants to pull my daughter away from me even more? That's the one thing I won't do. Even though you graduated from a prestigious music university, the time I teach piano to my daughter is truly precious and irreplaceable. So, isn't that selfish of you?" She sighed loudly and deliberately, interrupting my words. "I don't mean that." "What do you mean then? You're standing in front of me, a graduate of TG University, an elite musician. It would normally be paid a fee to teach, but at my mercy, I'm offering to teach her for free. How can you refuse just because you want to teach? You don't even have much skill. Don't you dare talk to me like that." "Well then, I'll play in front of you. I'll prove that I have the skills to teach my daughter." "Who would like to listen to a poor girl like you play? Your ears will rot." "Then what should I do? How can I prove to you that I'm good enough?" "I don't even have to listen. You really don't get it, do you? All you have to do is what I tell you to do. I've already told Hannah." "What?" I couldn't believe my ears when I heard my mother-in-law's words. What had my mother-in-law told my daughter without me? I was sweating. "I've already told Hannah I'm going to teach her how to play the piano from now on. I'm graduated from a famous music academy, and I'm better at playing the piano than you, and you said it would be better for her." "Why are you being so selfish?" "I didn't think you would against this much. I'm a graduate of an elite music college, and I'm more skilled than you, so you'd think I could take your place easily." "Are you saying that you didn't want to listen to my opinion from the beginning?" "Oh my God, you are really picky, aren't you? This is already decided, so don't be selfish anymore." Having said all she wanted to say, my mother-in-law quickly disappeared in front of me. Since then, my mother-in-law has been coming into our house every day to teach my daughter Hannah the piano. I am not even allowed to enter the room where she is teaching my daughter. Whenever Hannah is taking a break, my mother-in-law always when Hannah is out of sight. You don't understand, but she has a talent for music, and to develop that talent, she needs to have the proper skills and education. If you are a poor person who can only go to a junior college, you will not have the proper skills and education. Listen to me. If you are an incompetent instructor like yourself, you will destroy Hannah's wonderful talent, you know? Do you understand? Yes. Well, that's alright then. You will not disturb us in the future. We don't want you in our sight. Okay. I hold back the tears that threatened to overflow in frustration. My mother-in-law looked down happily at me with a pain in my heart that felt as it was going to burst. I'm going to play the piano with Hannah. My mother-in-law throws a happy voice at me and goes to Hannah. I once asked my husband to stop my mother-in-law's outbursts, but my husband did not take the situation that seriously. What's wrong with her teaching Hannah to play the piano? It's not only that, but it's taking away precious time from me and Hannah. You are exaggerating. I'm sure Mom just wants to help. Why do you have to be so critical of what she's doing to make your life easier? No, that's not helping. I'll tell Mom, okay? Don't be so upset. In fact, she doesn't even listen to me seriously. It is true that from the outside, my mother-in-law's behavior may seem like a good person who helps me raise my child. But in reality, she is a devil trying to steal my precious daughter away from me. No one can understand my sorrowful heart. It's frustrating, but it's for Hannah's sake. I feel so frustrated that all I can do is try to talk myself out of it. Then, the worst thing happened to me. Nicole, look at this! I was called into the piano room, which I had not been allowed to enter recently, and my eyes opened a lot as soon as I entered. Piano. Oh, you even understand it! We just got a new piano! My mother-in-law laughed and placed a brand new piano next to her. Kelly, what is it? Where is my father's piano? Oh, I threw it away. You threw it away? Yes, I threw it away because it was falling apart. My mother-in-law answered so matter-of-factly that my eyes began to distort. Why? That was my father's piano, filled with memories of me and my father. It's not important to me. That old-fashioned piano doesn't suit me and Hannah. Oh no, how did you get rid of it? I hoped she was lying, so I asked my mother-in-law. She answered matter-of-factly. I called a contractor and had him dispose of it while you were gone. She answered without hesitation. Did you enter the house without permission? What do you mean without permission? I always do that. It's the difference between your presence and absence, isn't it? It's a big difference. You are trespassing, and you can't just dispose of someone's property without permission. How could you do that? Shut up. I was kind to get rid of that old piano and buy a new one for you. I may be grateful, but I don't deserve to be yelled. She pushed me out of the room where the piano was kept and kicked me out of the room. You don't seem to understand the value of this piano. Don't you dare try to touch it without my permission. And of course, you can't enter this room either. Right now, Hannah is practicing a song for my birthday party. People like you are getting in the way of her practice. I had hit my limit as the door closed with a forceful slam. That night, Hey Hannah, are you practicing a song for your grandma's birthday party? Yes, I'm working hard, so please listen to me, Mom. Yes, of course I'll listen. By the way, Hannah, I have a favor to ask you. I smiled at her and she answered cheerfully. What is it? Then came the day of my mother-in-law's birthday party. All the relatives, neighbors, friends of my mother-in-law and some of my daughter's friends were invited. It seems that every year my mother-in-law has her own birthday party, but this year she seems to be in a different mood. My mother-in-law sent letters to many people a few days before the party. She was insisting that her granddaughter would play the piano for her and she would love for them to come and listen to her. It worked, and the invited guests were all relatives and neighbors. In addition to my mother-in-law's friends, several of my daughter's friends also attended. I am sure she told my daughter, invite a lot of your friends. My mother-in-law has smiles when my daughter brought many friends as she was told. A grandchild playing the piano for her, huh? I thought it might be a mistake to say that she was making her practice the piano for her birthday party, but I decided to keep my mouth shut. I was busy all morning making food and a cake for her birthday party. My husband and daughter helped me, but my mother-in-law did not want to help at all. I could say that it was my mother-in-law's birthday party, but I wish she understand my works. Well, I would have been happier if they had gathered this many people. When I managed to finish the preparations for the birthday party, my mother-in-law stood up in front of everyone and shouted out, "Thank you so much for coming to celebrate with me." The birthday party started with my mother-in-law's voice and exaggerated behavior as if she was a heroine on the stage. After enjoying the meal and chatting for a while, my daughter stood up and moved in front of my mother-in-law. "Happy birthday, Grandma! I have a present for you, Grandma," the daughter said and sat down in front of the piano that was placed at the back of the room. "Please listen," she said in a cheerful voice and began to play Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. The tune was lovely and I could tell that everyone was smiling, but it was not so good. Obviously, her skills had dropped. Hannah could have played better. While I was thinking that, the performance ended. She smiled mother-in-law shyly, and mother-in-law said, "You did a great job. Thank you, Grandma, and now I have a favor to ask you." "Oh, what is it, Hannah?" "I want to hear you play." "What?" "Not the easy ones, the hard ones, can't you?" For some reason, my mother-in-law began to be puzzled by my daughter's words. Her eyes was moving, but as soon as she spotted me, she made a sickening smile. "Yes, you may play it, but before I do, Nicole." "Yes, you said you were going to play a piece for me, didn't you?" My mother-in-law looked at me and said something like that. Of course, I had never heard that from her, but I was sure she would do it. "What? I haven't listened to my mother play in a long time." "Yes, Hannah, now your mother is going to give us a great performance for Grandma." "Wow, I'm looking forward to it." After seeing her granddaughter smile, my mother-in-law strode up to me. "It's my birthday. I'll let you touch this piano." Saying this, my mother-in-law pushed me and made me sit down in front of the piano. The whole room was abuzz with excitement at the lovely performance of her daughter Hannah, and all focused on me in anticipation of what they would hear next. "Well, it's not much that a poor kid like you can play anyway, is it?" My mother-in-law whispered in my ear so that only I could hear. It was as if she was telling me to embarrass myself in front of my daughter. "Come on, Nicole, play for us. Everyone is curious to hear what you will play." Behind of my mother-in-law's mocking voice, I said, "Okay," I replied quietly. I slowly placed my fingertips on the keyboard. I exhaled, tapped the keyboard once, and began to play a tune with great energy. "What?" With my mother-in-law's puzzled voice in the background, I carefully played the piece, being careful not to slow down my finger movements. The piece was Chopin Etude, 10-1. It is so popular that it was used as the opening song of the anime Piano Forest, but it is a very difficult piece for performers. However, I like this piece and have practiced it many times, and this is my specialty. Of course, there was no way I could fail. I finished playing perfectly to the end, stood in front of the people who were stunned by my piano performance, and showed them a beautiful bow. Immediately, the audience applauded in unison. I was surrounded by eyes of emotion and excitement, and applause of admiration. "Oh great, this was such a good feeling." As I was immersed in the sensation I hadn't felt in a long time, my mother-in-law, who was standing beside me, said, "No way," she muttered in a small voice. "What's wrong, mother-in-law? You don't look so well, do you?" My mother-in-law huffed when I called out to her. "Oh, it's nothing," she said strongly. I replied strongly, "You're pretty good, aren't you? Where did you learn such piano skills?" I smiled softly back at her eyes, as if to say, "You grew up poor." "Didn't you know that, Mother?" My mother-in-law asked back at Tom's words. "What?" "Nicole, when she was in high school, she won an award for excellence in a junior piano concert." "What?" "I haven't heard her play the piano in a long time, but it's still amazing. It's beautiful but powerful." "No, I'm not even close. There are many people who are better than me, you know, Kelly?" I ended my conversation with my husband fast and turned to my mother-in-law. "What? You graduated from that famous music college, TG University, right?" "Yes, I did. What about it?" "I'm very curious. I wonder how you teach piano to Hannah. What kind of music do you play?" "Well, that's not important right now, is it?" "Why? You graduated from a famous music university, TG University, as a musician. You must be concerned about it, right?" "No, there's no need to take care of it. Play it for me." What? Please play a piece of music. I have always wanted to hear your wonderful performance. I'd even asked my daughter to play it for me. Nah. My mother-in-law's eyes widened at my words. Yes, I had only one request for my daughter. I want to hear my grandmother play, so will you please ask Grandma to play for her birthday party too? That's all. But that's all it takes to complete my revenge, because it was that mother-in-law. While I was embarrassing myself in front of all my relatives by playing a bad piano, she would hide behind. She would have said that the play made me sick, so I can't play. But I'm sorry. I can play the piano just fine. Ah, I want to hear it too. My daughter cheerfully agreed with my words. Grandma's fingers aren't feeling well, so she only lets me play simple pieces. Oh, really, Hannah? How did you learn to play the piano from your grandmother? At first, I played the songs she taught me, but they were all easy, so these days I play while looking at the music sheet you gave me. My grandma always compliments me on how good I am. Well, do you get any advice from your grandmother? No, she always says she has nothing to teach me because I'm a genius, so I don't get any advice from her. I see. I get the point. I had thought that Hannah's piano skills were declining, but that was what it was all about. My mother-in-law had told me that she would teach my daughter the piano, but in reality, she didn't teach her much. And the whole time she was teaching her, my daughter was teaching herself. I want to hear my grandmother play, not the usual easy pieces, but the harder ones like my mother used to play for me, Grandma. I'm looking forward to it. Then let's listen to my grandma play together. Yes, that's what Grandma said. She plays the piano better than Mom. That's why I've always wanted to hear her play. I'm so happy for you. Today, you'll finally get to hear your grandmother play. I'm so happy. Despite her smiling, my mother-in-law's face is turning pale. What's wrong? Hannah wants to listen to your performance. No, I'm not feeling good today. She's waiting for you to play a simple nursery rhyme for her. Hannah is looking forward to your performance. Yes, but I'm not. My mother-in-law was getting sweaty as her eyes are moving from side to side at my words. What's wrong? I can't play. What? I can't play. Oh, there's no way I can play after that performance. Why? You graduated from that TG University, right? You can play as well as I can, no problem, right? I graduated from TG University, but I majored in conducting. Even if you are selected for conducting, you have piano as one of the screening subjects, right? I chose an instrument that isn't piano. I have small hands, so the pieces I play are limited. There's no way I can play as fluently as you. My mother-in-law shouted and people around me began to fuss, wondering what was wrong. You can't play the piano? Huh? But didn't you proudly tell us you were teaching your granddaughter to play the piano? You said you play better than your daughter-in-law's poor piano, didn't you? What do you mean? The eyes around me looking at her turned suspicious. It's not like that, okay? I'm not... You guys, I play the piano. Hey, Grandma? Her big eyes got even bigger and she asked her grandma a genuine question. Can't you play the piano, Grandma? Hannah? If you don't play the piano, why did you lie and say you do? No, Hannah, I didn't lie. It's true. When I asked her why she was always so kind to me but so strict with my mother, she told me it was because my mother mistreats her, and I thought that was true. What are you talking about, Hannah? Could it be that you're really tormenting my mother? Hannah! My mother-in-law screams in sorrow at my daughter's words. No, it can't be. Of course not. Nicole and I are good, aren't we, Nicole? No way. What are you talking about, Nicole? There is no way I can get along with someone who would throw away a piano given to me by my father, my most precious possession. What? My daughter tilted her head. She said that you said you didn't need it anymore, so she threw it away and bought a new one. It was very precious that I got from my father. Even if I couldn't play it anymore, I wouldn't throw it away. Really? Then why did you throw it away, Grandma? Didn't you know that it was my mother's precious treasure? To her daughter's words, my mother-in-law just shook her head and said, No. The conversation between us caused the guests to start fussing. My husband, sensing that the mood had deteriorated, asked the guests to leave, saying, Let's call it a night. He began to urge them to leave the room. Wait, it's really not true. There is a reason for this. There's a reason. What's the reason? That's it. That's it. I looked at my mother-in-law who was mumbling, and I opened my mouth. Please don't destroy my daughter's talent because of your own selfishness. At my words, my mother-in-law collapsed to her knees. After that day, she never came to our house again. She had behaved disgracefully at her own birthday party. No matter how much she wanted to, she would never be able to come to our house to see us. Furthermore, it seems that her relatives and neighbors who attended her birthday party spread bad rumors about her. Now she is being shunned by her relatives and neighbors. Even so, she is still saying, "It's not my fault. I was set up. I was set up by that evil wife." My mother-in-law is going around the neighborhood saying it's not her fault. Of course, no one is taking her seriously. I honestly think it's just like my mother-in-law. My daughter has been learning piano from me, and she is getting better and better at it. Mom, I want to play with you. A duet? Well, that would be difficult until you get a little better at the piano. Then I'll practice a lot and become better than you. I'm sure, Hannah, you'll surpass me fast, and I'm going to be a pianist. A pianist? A pianist! And then, in front of many people, I says I become a pianist because of my mother who taught me. She plays the piano much better than I do. Hannah. So I will practice a lot. I'll keep working on it. Thank you, Mom. I am so happy to be able to spend peaceful time with my daughter again.